Hi, my name is Mark Wasserman, and I'm going to be reading the first 8 pages of a feature-length screenplay entitled Long in the Tooth. It's a psychological horror film about an elderly man who comes to believe that the key to youth may be in a word, blood. Some of the other primary characters include a high school goth girl who's trying to rectify some bad decisions she's made, and a 10-year-old boy who's a little bit too eager to grow up. It's low budget, character driven, and here we go. Exterior cemetery night. We move past gravestones of all shapes and sizes, including tall imposing crosses, short snub-nosed monuments, and simple square plaques set into the ground. Some stones are inscribed with cherubs and lambs, others with snakes and swords, all of them suggesting the wide variety of humanity entombed below. Beyond the cemetery, we can see lights of a small town. We keep moving until we're at a double coffin, a large crumbling stone casket lying amid dry grass at the edge of the cemetery. A large rusted padlock hangs on a ring. Just beneath the lid, a small sliver of light can be seen. We hear the sounds of hungry slurping and swallowing that carry over to a steakhouse. It's a moderately expensive restaurant located just off the turnpike. There's a parking lot full of minivans, SUVs, and other conservative-looking automobiles. A stately gray Oldsmobile stands out. The slurping sounds continue. We close in on a partly open mouth revealing a set of gray, stitched-up gums with a few remaining yellow teeth nubs and a tongue savoring whatever it's tasting. The slurping sounds are much more audible. Reddish juice runs down the side of the mouth. Interior steakhouse. We see the person responsible for the slurping sounds. This is Fred Pierce, 77, lean and white-haired, with sad, sorrow-haunted eyes and deep lines in his face. Despite his advancing age, he wears a smart seersucker blue and white suit with a neat pocket square pointing out of the left breast pocket. Across the table is a woman, his date. She's plump, pleasant-looking, gray hair, late 60s, and she wears a sensible white blouse on which is pinned a brooch showing a picture of her grandchild. So then my grandson runs into the kitchen and says to my daughter, "Mom, guess what we saw at the beach?" "A starfish. Are you even listening, Fred?" Mm-hmm. Doesn't look like it. And you have juice on your face. What are you doing anyway?" Fred finishes with one final suck and spits a piece of gray, de-juiced steak onto his plate. "Eating my steak and listening to you." "No, you're not. You're sucking the juice out of it." "So? It's disgusting." He wipes his mouth and puts down his napkin. "Darling, my teeth are rotten. This is the only way I can enjoy a steak. I'm supposed to be getting dentures put in tomorrow." The woman pulls a compact out of her disc and starts dabbing her face with blush. "I'm not your darling, and you have the worst table manners I think I've ever seen." "Well, you tell the dullest stories I've ever heard." She snorts and finishes her makeup. "But maybe I'll get used to them." "Honestly, I don't know how your wife put up with you for 40 years. What are you talking about? She loved me." "And I loved her." The woman gets up. Fred watches her head toward the exit. "That's how we lasted 40 years, because that's how it's done, or how it used to be done." The woman leaves the restaurant. Other diners glance over at Fred as he straightens up in his chair with false dignity. An oblivious waiter arrives and starts to fill the woman's water glass, but Fred waves him off and motions for the check. Fred's Oldsmobile. Fred drives, doing less than the speed limit. A car behind him honks angrily, then passes him. "Get off the road, Grandpa." Cemetery, parking lot. He gets out using his cane, makes his way up the path toward the grave sites. Exterior cemetery. It's the same one we saw earlier. A slice of pale moon hangs in the sky like an old man's yellow fingernail. The mournful wail of a train can be heard in the distance, and the sounds of crickets. Close up on a gravestone reading "Sally Pierce in loving memory." Fred moves slowly up to the grave, which sits at the edge of the cemetery. He stands looking at it. A gust of summer night wind fluffs his white hair. "Hey Sal, how are you tonight, my love?" "Well, I had another dating disaster. The Titanic and the Hindenburg having dinner, hoping for the best." "Lord, I miss you, darling." "But I'm trying to make up for lost time, just as you wanted." "As if caring for you were lost time." "Well, it wasn't. Not for me. A sick and angry you was still better than 1,000 healthy, happy other people." He hears muffled voices. Interior double coffin. It's pitch black except for the same sliver of light we saw earlier, but now we're within the coffin looking out. Shh! What? Someone's coming. Who? Kill the light. The light goes out. Sally's gravesite night. Fred looks in the direction of the voices. Curious, he picks up his cane and walks toward them. As he gets closer, he spies the crumbling double coffin, now gone dark. He listens, just crickets. Huh. He slides his hand along the edge of it, shrugs, then turns and heads back to the main part of the cemetery. Interior double coffin. That was close. Who was it? That old guy. Again? Well, maybe he wanted to watch us. He heard about the boffin coffin. Yeah, like that's gonna happen. Come on, baby bat. No, let's get out of this thing. Why? Because. Double coffin slowly swings open. A scuffed black military boot connected to a fishnet stocking leg plants itself on the ground, followed by its twin. Tana, a pretty goth girl of 16, climbs out. She wears black eyeshadow, crucifix around her neck, and a fashionably ratty black dress. Bo climbs out next. He is tall, lean, and handsome, with black dyed hair that hangs over his cheeks in jagged waves, black eyeshadow, and a skull nose ring. They walk through the cemetery. Tana notices Fred standing over his wife's grave. Let's go say hello. What? No, why? I don't know, because he looks lonely. Let's go, Tana. He's having a private moment. Just hang on a sec. No, yes. Fine, I'll wait in the car. Scream if he tries anything. Bo stomps off as Tana rolls her eyes. Tana strolls up to Fred. Hello, hello. I'm sorry to interrupt. We were just walking over there and noticed you over here by yourself. That's okay. Cemetery is a public place. Is that your wife? Yes. She must have been an amazing woman for you to visit her so much. How do you know how much I visit her? Huh? Oh, well, my friends and I, we walk around here a lot. I see. Well, we think the dead people in this town are more interesting than live ones. I know what you mean. I hope you don't think that's disrespectful, that we come at night. No, it's much nicer at night, isn't it? Yes, it is. They stand for a moment listening to the crickets. The sound of Bo's engine roars to life. Well, I guess I should go while the night is young. My name is Tana, by the way. Fred. And the night hasn't been young for me in years. Oh, I'm sure that's not true, but I should go. Night. Good night.